Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Rundown, episode number 152. And I am the first and only ever dual champion on this show. I am not only the Wrestling Rundown Predictions Heavyweight Champion, but I am also the No DQ NXT Team Predictions Heavyweight Champion. Owen, the Birdman Finch, the Birdman of Boston. And I am here with
the Money in the Bank contract holder, former and future Wrestling Rundown heavyweight champion
predictions
of,
heavyweight
of
champion.
the universe, Chris.
We got some interesting stuff to talk about, and this is
none of it's interesting.
The moment's finally at hand. We're finally at the final week before WrestleMania, and obviously I told you this before in the earlier video. My interest level went down because of Monday, pretty much. So thanks a lot, Monday.
Things could change though.
Yeah, things could change. Me and Chris might be watching WrestleMania together, or we might not be watching WrestleMania together. It all depends. He won't know, and I won't. Maybe I should tell you like an hour before the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just be like showing up, and then just tell you like an hour before the show even happens. So there might be a live reactions. There might not be, because I tried to get you to host Takeover, because that would have been the best idea, but then you go, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're being a baby about that, because if you host a Takeover, then this would be a completely different thing. So, but you're just being a flat out baby. So
being a big baby.
Yeah.
Someone else being a baby too.
Well, that's a different video. But let's talk about the wrestling topics that we have at hand. Before we even get to the Raw, SmackDown, and 205 Live, we had an interesting little talk show that happened this week with John Oliver. What's the name of this show again? It's called like This Week in Politics or something, right?
This Week in something or other.
Yeah, something like that. So he did this segment talking about the WWE and how they treat their employees. I almost said employers. I wouldn't be. That's not right at all. But basically, he talks about how they consider their employees independent contractors, but yet they can't go do this. Basically how that system's worked. He talked about what else did he talk? How wrestlers are dying at early ages. He talked about how the fans have a right to change things. How wrestlers don't have like health insurance or any of that. Basically, he just kind of talked about how the WWE system works and how it's like the worst possible system anywhere. And he especially picked on WWE because in his mind, it's like the biggest. It's a monopoly. It's like the biggest company out there. So
yeah.
Now I will say, our points valid. Some of them were pretty valid. However, if he had done this probably in like 2005, this would be completely accurate. But this isn't 2005. This is 2019. So I guess I'll just talk about this first. What's tough about this is because this is a comedy show, and he's trying to, and I've noticed like when I've watched this show, he'll try to bring like serious things, but since this is a comedy show, you can't really tell like when he's being funny and when he's being serious. Like when he said that he was like this big wrestling fan, I don't know if he was like serious or not because it didn't sound like he was. So, but obviously we're gonna talk about like one point he talks about. He talks about how WWE are seen as independent contractors, which that's pretty true. But he talked about so that one I'll admit that's true. But I feel like lately they'll kind of seen more as employees. We talked about today how they're setting up like systems now where like they'll pay for you to go to rehab now and stuff. Of course he doesn't talk about that though. What else did he not talk about? One like bad thing he talked about was like all these wrestlers that talked about have like died at early ages has to do with them like being in the business, and he puts in like Macho Man Randy Savage, King Kong Bundy, China, and things like that. Now look, wrestling obviously when they were wrestling was in way different shape than it is now, but also King Kong Bundy, Macho Man Randy Savage, and China had been out of the business for like years,
a long time.
Long
obviously,
time. And when Macho Man Randy Savage died, he died by having a heart attack in his car. Is that real? I mean, come on, that's like, how can you like blame wrestling for that? I mean, you could say wrestling's a factor, but that could just happen to anybody with someone dying of a heart attack in their car like that. Like
exactly, yeah.
And then King Kong Bundy had also been out of the business for years. And he lived till like he was like 61. Not a lot of wrestlers lived till like they're 61 too. So it's like, that's pretty old for a wrestler to live. So, and then with China, it wasn't just because of like WWE's system. There was, China had been doing like, a lot of drugs and stuff after that anyways. Like China had been out of the business for what, like since 2001?
Yes, it was a long, long time.
Yeah. Like the last person that like died when he was like in the company, I know like, Dave Meltzer talked about like somebody else, but I'm just going to, the most notable ones, Chris Benoit. But what John Oliver failed to mention is because of the deaths of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, they've updated their wellness policy. And they've done it for the better. The concussion tests are much better. Because if the concussion tests were really as bad, were really still in the state that they were in, Daniel Bryan would have still been, would have still been wrestling, the 2 years that he took off.
Exactly, yeah.
Tyson Kidd probably would still be wrestling today. There's a reason like Tyson Kidd's not wrestling. Paige, and plus too, like if he brings up Paige's situation's like completely different because she's also been wrestling since she was like 13 years old. So that's going to take a toll on your body quicker, anyways. And there's a reason Nigel McGuinness didn't get signed to WWE. When he tried to get signed the first time around. Because Daniel Bryan probably wouldn't have even been signed to the company if he had if he had told the truth about his physical. Because I heard Daniel Bryan like lied about like what his physical status was and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
So yeah, that's something that he completely failed to bring up. He also completely like and this is like the biggest one, failed to bring up. He shows in the clip how everybody hates Roman Reigns, but that's also dated because Roman Reigns, the clip that he shows was the night after he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31, and what we thought was his last match. Obviously, people are going to be like vocal and hating Roman Reigns at that point. Because Undertaker is like one of the most beloved superstars ever in the history of professional wrestling, and the fact that he quote unquote retired him, he's going to be hated. Because he was still probably booed, but I bet like the clip that we saw on Raw like the next week are like completely different things. But also, there's worse. He failed to mention that now Roman Reigns is very beloved by the WWE Universe because he failed to mention that Roman Reigns just came back from leukemia. Like, is he gonna like notice like he brings up the points, but he only brings up the points that he wants you to hear about. Like, like he talked about like how the fans have a voice, but mentions the women's revolution, and maybe the fans had somewhat of a say in that. But if the WWE didn't want to do that women's revolution, they wouldn't have done the women's revolution. Because it's not like they did it like ASAP right away. It took a few months for them to finally listen to us.
Yeah.
Like the example that he should have brought up was that Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 situation, how they were going to do Randy Orton versus Batista in the main event, and we rallied and wanted Daniel Bryan. Didn't bring up that situation though. And of course, he even talked about how the fans have a voice, but there's been many situations where the fans have wanted something or didn't want something, but the WWE either didn't or just go with that situation or did anyways. A couple of examples, and obviously, this has nothing to do with the Roman Reigns situation now. I'm just making a point. A lot of people did not want Roman Reigns in the main event in a lot of different situations. What did they do anyways? They put Roman Reigns in the main event. They wanted Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 34. We got Roman Reigns. Also, he talked about Crown Jewel, the Saudi Arabia show, when they went, and how he tried to make it seem like the fans have a voice with stuff like that. But if the fans really have a voice, that Crown Jewel event wouldn't have happened at all, because he thinks that show happened at all. So, there's a lot of points that he makes. Like, he even shows like a lot of outdated footage, like that Jesse Ventura footage that he showed, where he talked about how like the government never like tried to test like the WWE with independent contractors or anything. That was like filmed in like that clip was taken from like the 80s, and I heard like they have done it since then. It's just nothing really has gone through. So it's like, he doesn't bother to show any of that type of stuff. So, it's also, like I said, it's also really tough because he's talking about serious situations like that on a comedy show, and he's also showing like moments of like Vince McMahon getting like embarrassed and stuff after he shows that situation. It's kind of like he's kind of helping their cause in a way, because he talks about how Vince McMahon is like this villainous thing, but then when he shows situations like that, like people probably think like, what are people supposed to think? Like, he's like, so aren't we supposed to kind of hate him if you're treating his wrestlers this way? Like, what if people think like this is all part of the storyline now? Like, yeah, now he's apparently been invited to WrestleMania now and stuff. It's like, it's just, and it's just kind of weird he chose to talk about this the week of WrestleMania, and he's telling fans like to rally against it, going into WrestleMania. Fans aren't going to rally against that, especially too with like, the cards and the matches that we have on this show. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those situations by WrestleMania, when the moment comes and the moment goes, it will be forgotten about. So, what are your thoughts on like this John Oliver like segment, and any like additional thoughts you want to say about it?
I mean, you covered it pretty much. You covered everything, but I think it's a completely biased article. I think he's just being biased just to get the fan support.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And no, I feel like too, like the biggest example of that is no one chanted the stuff that they told him to chant on Raw this week, so it's not happening at WrestleMania. So
yeah.
Plus too, like, wrestling fans don't really like to get involved with that type of stuff, unless it's like the Saudi Arabia stuff. Then you don't screw with it then. But how often do like wrestling fans really like rally when it comes to like politics and that type of stuff?
Not very often.
Yeah. So, and he talked about unions and off seasons and stuff. I feel like too, it's very tough to have a union started, because a lot of wrestlers would have to come together and decide what they would want to do, and then having like an off season. Wrestling's never had an off season before, so who even knows? Like, I feel like it would be better on the performers, but having an off season, there's other reasons. You could talk about how storylines could get like restarted. I feel like the storylines might not even change that much, because Vince could we see nowadays like Vince gets in his moods like where he could have like this long-term storyline like planned that he made off season, but then want to change his mind by the time this new season would start up again. So I feel like too, like having an off season wouldn't really work in that regard. But we've talked about John Oliver enough. We talked about him. We're not talking about him anymore. One final thing I want to talk about before we actually get into Raw this week is so Ronda Rousey on a YouTube channel did a nice little video talking about what her life possibly is going to be after WWE, and apparently she's going to be a saxophone player. It showed like her like doing skits about it backstage with like Joe, Paul Heyman, Seth, and things like that. Paul Heyman was hilarious on that because he thought he was talking about something else. But we would find out the next day that it was an April Fool's joke, which, yeah, that made, I kind of thought it was like a joke or something. I actually thought what she was referencing, like she was going to have sex with her husband and the saxophone was supposed to be like a figurative sense to that. But, Ronda Rousey did it all wrong because she should have waited until after WrestleMania to say that it was an April Fool's joke, because then people, would have been like, oh, she's clearly losing Sunday then. And then when she loses, because she's losing, she could be like, just kidding, not leaving. But, of course, Ronda Rousey, it seems like Ronda Rousey just kind of doesn't really get how to do this, because we've seen lately how she's, like, exposed the wrestling business. We shouldn't really say like she's exposed the wrestling business, but anytime now you try to do any of her like storylines, and she's supposed to either like look bad or good, she's like giving away all like the hints backstage and stuff like that. So, that was just a joke, and I don't really understand like I guess she just got bored and decided to make that video. It happens, so.
The saxophone playing now, apparently.
Yeah. And we could tell like it wasn't her playing the song too, because it was the same like notes every time that she was playing. Like no one just plays the same notes over and over again. So, and like you could tell like if someone was talking, like she'd be playing the saxophone in the background, and we could somehow hear it. Like I don't think technology. I don't think like saxophones work like that, where you can just hear it. Like it's not like too like she was like a foot away. She was like all the way backstage like playing it. I don't think we would hear it from that far away. So, I guess that is what it is though. So, but now let's get into the actual weekly WWE programming. We're gonna save NXT UK, NXT, and the predictions for tomorrow. Mainly because NXT UK and NXT hasn't happened yet, and that way it gives the people an extra day to decide their predictions. Because you could end up changing your predictions tonight, Chris, depending on how NXT goes tonight. So.
Well, I kind of already did about 16 times today.
Yeah. So let's talk about Raw. I'm going to do the Raw notes this week because I want to change things up, and I never do the Raw notes, so I'm doing them this week. So, you can fight me about that in the parking lot if you want, but, there's no point.
I will.
There's no point of fighting about in the parking lot because I would have already done them. So you're fighting about nothing. So
exactly, I'm going to fight you in the damn parking lot.
Okay, I guess I. But anyhow, let's get into Raw. It took place on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2019. We had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Renee Young on commentary for this show. Maybe this will be Renee Young's last show on commentary. Maybe it won't be. We don't know. So it kicked right off with Stephanie McMahon's WrestleMania main event announcement. She plays an April Fool's joke on us, saying that it's now going to be a fatal four-way match at WrestleMania, and goes to add herself to the match. And then she goes to the April Fool's joke, which I guess it worked because that scared me for a second there. I actually thought she was going to add herself to the match. So
it didn't scare me at all for a second.
Thank God that didn't happen, though. She should have let it play up a little bit though, taking a pause instead of
It was like one. It was like in one breath.
Yeah. We needed like some breathing room with that. But no, what she really announced was that at WrestleMania it's going to be winner take all. The winner will get both the Raw and the SmackDown Women's Championships, which makes sense because then why would Charlotte Flair have won the SmackDown Women's title if it wasn't going to be a winner take all match? So. I like it. Makes the main event of WrestleMania feel big, and whatever happens, if they're gonna merge the titles or just separate them, afterwards, or have whoever the champion is defend both belts on both brands, we'll kind of get back to that and see what happens with that after the result at WrestleMania. But I like this. It makes the main event of WrestleMania bigger. So what are your thoughts on Stephanie McMahon's announcement?
Everyone kind of expected it. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't really have an issue with it. I mean, like, everyone's still pissed about it because Asuka's, being, like, left out of it, but wasn't Asuka's like WrestleMania plan where she was gonna lose the SmackDown Women's title to Lacey Evans anyways, so or just have another lame match. Mandy, believe me, guys, Asuka wasn't getting it. Asuka being the champion at WrestleMania wasn't gonna have much of a better match at WrestleMania. I'm just saying that right now. It probably still would have been on the kickoff. So there was that. All right, so then we had Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out for a promo, and Paul Heyman does his typical Brock Lesnar stick, and he says that he'll be saying that after WrestleMania as well, and says that Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins' match, in a sense, is going to take all because he's going to take everything from Seth Rollins, like he's taken everything from his past opponents at WrestleMania. And he said that he's not even sweating Seth Rollins, that he's thinking about his after-match plans at WrestleMania, which, a lot of people are probably going to be, like, tying it into, UFC plans and stuff like that, which, if he's going to UFC, he'll make it. I've noticed he's made, like, appearances, but then nothing comes of it, so, And speaking of which, John Oliver, I do got to say, if wrestling's really in the bad state of business of affairs, what does it say about UFC that they have to grab Brock Lesnar from WWE? Because that shows UFC ain't doing the best either. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. But that's besides the point. So then Seth Rollins comes out, and he says everybody is sick of Brock Lesnar. Everybody backstage, everybody outside that works the wing crew. Everybody. Apparently, everyone's just sick of Brock Lesnar. When they see Brock Lesnar, they throw up. They're
sick of him.
Yeah. I wonder if even Paul Heyman is, too. I wonder if he's throwing up backstage.
Sick of him.
So, Brock Lesnar's just laughing at him. And I don't think this was, like, kayfabe either. I think he was, like, legitimately laughing like, I don't give a fuck. And he goes to leave. Seth Rollins low blows him. He goes for the stomp. Lesnar counters it, catches him as if he's going to go for an F5, but Rollins gets out of it, low blows him again, and then hits the stomp, holds up the Universal Championship, and leaves, stands tall, which I actually heard it was supposed to go the other way. They were going to have Lesnar stand tall, but Vince changed his mind the last minute, which I thought was a necessary change because, Seth Rollins hasn't really gotten one over on Brock Lesnar yet, and, I have a feeling if Rollins didn't get hurt, Lesnar would have stood tall here, but because Rollins really hasn't gotten one over on Brock Lesnar, I thought that made sense. Then afterwards, he does an interview backstage where Charlie Caruso tries to ask him, if you do that at WrestleMania, you don't win the title. And Rollins says, yeah, but I'm not the champion yet. Kind of ignored a question because, because basically, like, if he does that at WrestleMania, he won't win the championship. He'll get disqualified. But apparently, he's like, yeah, but I'm not the champion yet. Like, you kind of ducked a question right there, Seth. I'm sorry, but you did. But overall, I thought the Universal Championship segment was pretty good. I thought it was a nice way to kind of send nice go-home angle for the last match at WrestleMania. It didn't really do anything to make me look forward to the match that I already was, but I still thought it was good. So what do you think of the Brock Lesnar Seth Rollins segment?
All I have to say is, Brock, watch out for your peep.
Yeah. Watch out for that.
Watch out for that peep.
Anything else?
I liked it.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Yes. Hey, and that women's match might not main event the show because Brock Lesnar could get in Vince McMahon's face and say, I'm going on last. And then that women's match ain't main evented if Brock Lesnar does that. So,
and then
he's
Vince
just going to
goes,
be like,
bad.
Yeah.
Brock goes, well, not appearing.
Yeah.
And then Vince could go, you're not the champion.
No, but that if Brock wants to be the main event, because he could say, I'll go to AEW, and then Vince would get scared. Like, but yeah, this led us to our first match on the show. It was an 8-woman tag team match. The Boss and Hud Connection and the Divas of Doom versus Samoan Slaughterhouse and the Iconics. You knew the way this match was going. The second you saw that the Samoan Slaughterhouse and the Iconics didn't even get an entrance. So you knew where this match was going. Nobody cared about this match. I didn't care about this match. people already didn't care about Beth's return as it is, but why would you like have Beth Phoenix like wrestle on Raw? That kind of takes away the appeal of her coming out of retirement now at WrestleMania. Like now I have like absolutely no reason to give a fuck about that match at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
The only thing I cared about was like Beth Phoenix like tackled Tamina through the barricade, because to me the Samoan Slaughterhouse didn't really want to be a part of the match. The Iconics kind of worked the whole match up until that point. And then Beth Phoenix hits the Glam Slam on Peyton Royce for the win. And yeah, I mean, both teams couldn't even work together. Boston Hug Connection, like nothing. These women's tag team titles have like put the woman back to like the old Divas division because like it's back to like meaningless matches that mean absolutely nothing. So I could have cared less about this match. And
yeah, I really don't care.
Yeah. Like, why would you bring women's tag team titles if this is what you were going to do with them? So, I didn't care about this at all. So,
I didn't care about it either.
This match should be on the kickoff instead of the freaking cruiserweight match. I don't get to say it, but it's Beth's return match. But it's not like they treated it as it's important anyway. So, then Batista makes his like return to Washington D.C. since SmackDown 1000. He wrote it on his Instagram account, and I'm just gonna quote that: "Arrive, tell someone to kiss your ass, leave," because that's what it was pretty much. And you know what? I don't care what people say. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Like he just looked like a star out there, and him showing like him beating Triple H all those times in the video package and stuff. I just thought with all like the complicated storylines we have this year at WrestleMania with the women's triple threat, the Kofi match, and other things, this was just so simple that it just worked. It was just keep it simple, stupid. So I like this. I don't care what anybody says. I thought it was awesome.
I liked it.
It
was weird, but it was funny.
Yeah, it was like you didn't need to do anything else. This was all you needed. Like, and I gotta say, like, for a match I wasn't that interested in, these past 2 weeks of Raw with the Triple H segment and the Batista segment, I'm pretty interested in this match now. Not as interested as I wanted to be, but it's got a bit of my appeal. Like Batista just knows how to present himself like a star. Like, it was just
yes, he does.
And then Elias is out. I think that's actually happened first, but I put it out of order, but it doesn't matter. Elias is outside MetLife Stadium, and, he talks about his performance and says that he's not going to get interrupted at WrestleMania, but we know he is, so it was fine. And he even said, like, everyone's going to be sit and walk with Elias, which caused the crowd to sit in, so that was funny. What do you think of the Elias segment?
It's been the same thing, so...
Yeah. It was fine, though. So then we had Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal. I thought it was a lumberjack match. Apparently, I guess it wasn't a lumberjack match, but you can't blame me for thinking that because I thought that's why, because they had all the wrestlers, like, surrounding the ring, so I thought it was a lumberjack match, but I guess apparently it wasn't. They were just there for the sake of being there. It's basically like all the jobbers you probably see on Main Event every week, so, it's like the Ascension, the B Team, Lucha House Party, Heavy Machinery wasn't out there. Who else was out there? Tyler Breeze was out there. You name any jobber you can name, they were out there. So.
they were definitely out there.
And Apollo Crews just wins in like 3 minutes with like he doesn't even win with his finish too. He wins with like a splash off the top rope. Like, wow. And then he poses with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy because they're doing that again. And then the B-Team pose with it, the Ascension pose with it, and then everyone just kind of... I never get these. Like, every time they have to have, like, a Royal Rumble or, like, a Battle Royal, they have, like, a practice Battle Royal. Like, that's not even, like, official or anything. And then Apollo Crews just stood tall anyways. Like, big fucking... And then I saw Titus O'Neil out there on, like, a wall. It's like, why does this matter if he's on a wall? Like, this means nothing. Like...
Exactly.
It reminded me, too, like, how much they've dropped that tag team between Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil since they were in the same win together, too. Like, yeah, this segment just, like, failed on all sorts of levels. No one cares about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal since the first one. You know, good for you. I don't care. What were your thoughts on this Apollo Crews Jinder Mahal?
I don't care.
Okay. All right. So then we had Kurt Angle's like farewell Raw segment. Because apparently he was supposed to wrestle Rey Mysterio this week, but they didn't have it. A lot of people are like upset about that, but I really wasn't that upset about it because we've seen pretty much we've seen Kurt Angle like the past few weeks, and him. I think the WWE finally smartened up and said, yeah, we probably shouldn't have him wrestle all these matches. Kind of smartened up a bit too late, but yeah, he talks about how it's going to be the last time apparently we're going to ever see him on Monday Night Raw. I doubt that, but and he talks about his career. It shows a video package of like everything that he's ever done in his at least WWE career, and you had like people talking about it, like Mick Foley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle was crying. Which the video package I will say that they made for him was awesome. I will say that. And then Baron Corbin comes out and says like the last image that he's going to see of Kurt Angle is him standing over him after he's defeated. He mentions, that Kurt Angle's starting to get old and worn down. He even says like the footage should have been filmed in black and white, which kind of makes I don't really understand like how is that was supposed to be an insult on Kurt Angle. That also insults him because he's younger than Kurt Angle. So
Yeah.
he was probably like 3 when that was no, he was probably like in like his teenage years when Kurt Angle was wrestling. So then Kurt Angle challenges him to an exhibition, which I was kind of like, yes, because I was maybe hopeful that like they're just gonna get this over with now and then do like a better opponent at WrestleMania. But then when he walked away, I'm like, yeah, that's the match they're going with at WrestleMania. By the end of this show, that's the match they're going with. There's no changes. I have a feeling even if it was a troll, the WWE were kind of like, you know what, this is getting some hate. Let's not troll them anymore. Let's go with this. But then Rey Mysterio comes out and he wants a piece of Baron Corbin, so Baron Corbin accepts, and he doesn't accept. He's just like, yeah, I got better things to do. I got to prepare to beat Kurt Angle at Mania, and then he gets like the 619 and the Angle Slam. I actually liked this segment until Baron Corbin got involved, and then Baron Corbin just has to ruin everything. It's just I think he just ruins life. You just see Baron Corbin, and you're just like, man, my life sucks now. So, and he has a girlfriend too. I feel bad for his girlfriend because she was probably having like an awesome life, and then she's like, damn, now I'm dating this guy. What were your thoughts?
It was all right.
Yeah. Were you like me? Did you like it until the Baron Corbin thing happened?
Of course, everything's better without Baron Corbin.
Yeah. Then Charlotte Flair gets interviewed, and she talks about how she's going to make history Sunday like she always makes history and win both Raw and SmackDown Women's titles, and says she's not going to turn on her teammates in the 6-woman tag team match. It was fine. I actually liked the interview. It was good. And then we had a Raw Tag Team Championship match. Raw Tag Team Champions, The Revival versus Ricochet and Aleister Black. It was a really good match. Definitely got better towards the end. Dawson hits like the tornado DDT on Aleister Black on the outside. Ricochet does the flip dive onto him. And you see Dash under the ring. And, the referee is counting. But when Dawson gets put in the ring, Dash grabs Ricochet's legs. So that way he can't get back in. And the Revival win by countout and retain the Raw Tag Team titles. Now, the match was really good. And I was okay with this finish because I thought they were just going to do a rematch at WrestleMania. Fine. But I don't like the finish now because that's not the match at WrestleMania. It's Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins because afterwards, Ryder and Hawkins challenge them to a match so they can get the big win at WrestleMania. And the Revival says they're going to take it under consideration. But, I mean, that's pretty sick. I think that match is basically confirmed because they did that segment. So, now look. I pushed for the Revival versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder so they could get like the big WrestleMania victory. It would be a big deal. However, now that's not the case because the Revival have been booked like such losers lately that it's not going to be that big of a victory. Like literally, the last time the Revival have had like a clean win with no bullshit, nothing is when they won the Raw Tag Team titles. That was in February. That's like 2 months ago now. And Hawkins and Ryder, that storyline they kind of abandoned because Aleister Black and Ricochet were called up. So I know they have like Ricochet and Aleister Black in another match, but I feel like they should just be in the Raw Tag Team title match just because it's a prominent match that the Revival can be in, and it's just it just makes sense. Like, why would you do the finish that you did on Monday if you're not going to have them in the Raw Tag Team title match? So that just made no sense to me. But the match I still thought was like really good. I just did not like that finish at all. And because afterwards too, the faces just lay him out anyway. So if you're not doing that match at WrestleMania, why would you do this finish? So it made no sense. What were your thoughts on this match and the way they did the finish and everything?
It was good, and it just I'd rather Ricochet and Aleister Black get the Raw tag titles, but at least they're in a tag team match at WrestleMania.
Because it's like now that because it's like why is because like I said, if they were gonna do the Revival Hawkins and Ryder storyline, the Revival should have been like these badasses that win like all the matches, and Hawkins because if Hawkins and Ryder beat like someone that always wins, then it means like when they get the big win, it's not gonna mean anything because the Revival will always losing. Like I do want to see though if they do the match though the a Rough Rider counted into the Shadow Machine, that would be awesome. Well, that's not going to happen probably though, because we can never get nice things. We can't even get that. So,
Rough Rider and a 1, 2, 3.
Whatever. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. They win.
I didn't care about any. Another fail on Raw that week. So then we had Ronda Rousey backstage, and Charlie Caruso tries to come up and interview her, but she's not having it because she's a heel now and this badass, so she doesn't want to talk to anybody. And she just says, that it's going to be Judgment Day if Becky and Charlotte Flair turn on her. But if not, it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I think she's got like the Raw pay-per-view now or something. So whatever. But I like the promo. It was good. And then Alexa Bliss is talking to Tyler Breeze and EC3 backstage. And the Tyler Breeze thing was kind of a nice callback because that was like one of Alexa Bliss's like first segments she had in like NXT. But this was just bad. They're talking about WrestleMania and Alexa Bliss thinks she's like this great host. And then somehow Braun Strowman came up. Apparently, I guess they did like a bit on like SNL with like Colin Jost and Michael Che. They didn't show it. They didn't show it on Raw at all because why would like you would think they would show that on Raw, like the clip, because not a lot of people watch SNL now. So Braun Strowman thinks like they're making fun of him, but then Tyler Breeze, points out that like these two jobbers backstage who are actually making fun of him. So Braun Strowman goes up to them, and the joke is because one of them's black and one of them's white, that he's calling them Colin Jost and Michael Che, so he's gonna beat them up tonight. And if they try to leave the arena or anything like that, he'll find them. Which kind of doesn't make any sense. Someone pointed out like, why didn't they just like drive away? Because it's not like Braun Strowman would know if they left the arena and stuff. So, man, EC3.
Braun Strowman is the security.
EC3 looked like the biggest geek of the week too. Like him just not. He's back to his mute gimmick now, pretty much, and him just laughing now. It's just. This sucked. Like, what do you want me to say about it? Like, what were your thoughts on like this Braun Strowman and the Ronda Rousey thing too? Because I forgot to get your thoughts on that.
It's all right. Ronda Rousey's segment was all right, and that segment sucked.
Yeah. So then Roman Reigns gets interviewed. He gets interviewed by Dasha Fluentes, and I mentioned that because Dasha Fluentes like botched like this whole interview. Like she was asking like the weirdest questions ever, and like. When she was trying to ask the questions, like she couldn't even get like the sentences out of her mouth. Like you think Sarah Schreiber's bad, like Dasha Fluentes was much worse than that. So Roman Reigns though says that he's gonna prove that he can still go at WrestleMania because he's gonna see Drew McIntyre coming from a mile away. Apparently he didn't see him coming from a mile away because he just got jumped and attacked anyway. So I guess he didn't see him coming a mile away. But I like this attack. I thought it was very good. He like threw him into like a guardrail that they had like hung up backstage, and he says that every time Roman closes his eyes, he's going to be thinking of Drew McIntyre, which the way I make that sounds really wrong, but that's exactly what Drew McIntyre says. Apparently, when Roman Reigns closes his eyes, he thinks of Drew McIntyre. So, but I love this. So. I love this attack though. It builds great sympathy for Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania, and I actually can't wait to see Roman versus Drew at WrestleMania. So, what are your thoughts on this backstage segment?
It was again like it's obvious that Roman's gonna win.
Yeah.
I think they make it a little bit obvious here. Just him getting jumped every week.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a good enough segment.
I think the story would be better if actually Drew won in a way. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but you know, then it builds even more sympathy for Roman Reigns. Like maybe he still can't go at the level that he once could before. So, but you know, we'll have to wait and see too. I feel like Roman should win like his first like one-on-one match back because he hasn't had one yet. So, that's TBD though. That great wrestler that never makes the pay-per-views. So then we had the Riot Squad versus Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey, where if Ronda, Becky, or Charlotte turned on each other, they were out of the main event of WrestleMania. That stipulation, though, makes no sense because the Authority, Vince, put Charlotte Flair in the match. Why would he want to take her out of the match? I can understand, and, you know, Ronda Rousey is, like, one of the main reasons this match is main event, and then I can understand Becky Lynch having this stip because they didn't want Becky in this match, but it's like, I don't know. They shouldn't have even added that stipulation, but, you know, basically this match goes as you expected, where everybody kind of can't get along, but they do it enough to win when Liv Morgan tries to roll up Ronda Rousey and she just turns it into the armbar and taps out. And immediately right after the match is over, Ronda Rousey just goes right after Charlotte Flair. And everybody gets into a brawl. It's a big pull-apart brawl. But then the police get involved. And I guess Washington, D.C. must be like the worst police town ever or something because these cops had no clue what they were doing. We will say, like, I love this segment, but this is one of those segments where you can't think about it too logically or else it's going to ruin it for you because there were some logic flaws in this segment. So Ronda Rousey, you know, attacks one of the officers, which causes her to get arrested. So Becky Lynch sees that Ronda Rousey is handcuffed, attacks her, and she gets arrested basically for no reason. She didn't put her hands on cops or anything. She was just arrested. So, and then Charlotte Flair attacks Ronda Rousey. She gets arrested. And you know,
Charlotte did the worst. Charlotte fucking wailed on her.
Yeah.
She hit her with that that brutal ass forearm. Oh, she was handcuffed.
So everyone's trying to fight out of it. Becky Lynch isn't really fighting out of it. She's kind of like happy that she's getting arrested. So, then we go backstage, and this is like where this segment really gets awesome. So, the cops, you know, pull up the police vans and stuff, and they put Charlotte Flair in first, and then, no, I think they stupidly put Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey in the same cop car back to back in the same seat. Like, what did you guys think was going to happen? Like, you don't, like, if you're a cop, you're not going to put, like, two people that are in a fight in the same seat while they're fighting. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so, like, they get, like, Ronda and Becky start kicking at each other, and Ronda kicks out, like, the window, so then they have to get Becky out of there because they fucked up. And somehow, like, I guess the cops left the keys in the car because Ronda was able to, like, drive into the police car that, like, Charlotte Flair was in. But then I guess they took Charlotte Flair out, too, because then Charlotte opened up the door for Charlotte Flair to do, like, the knee to Ronda. That knee she hit on Ronda was brutal, which was in the police car or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, this segment, though, was just so awesome because it was, like, really... It really hyped you up for the main event of WrestleMania, but it's definitely one of those segments you have to check your brain at the door because, like, it's just so wacky and so nonsensical. Like, you would think, too, like, that being real cops, they would, like, tase them if they got into, like, this much fighting now and stuff. Like, you know, it was... What were your thoughts on this? I thought it was awesome.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Yeah. Then Waud pretty much fell off a cliff at this point. Maybe fell off a cliff, came back up for like a second, then fell back down again. We had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus Heavy Machinery. Once this match isn't important, because that's what happened here. She comes out and she came out longer this time than she did any other time because like she just felt like she was out there forever. And Heavy Machinery win with the Compactor, and they might be setting up like a split with Bobby Roode and Chad Gable because Bobby Roode had like this weird look on his face, but I'm not gonna trust that because this company changes plans week to week. This was just terrible and no point to it at all. What are your thoughts on this?
No point to it. Terrible. Don't care.
Okay. And then Braun Strowman squashed the two jobbers and like hit like a double power slam on them. You could say, well, it gets Braun Strowman over, but this was also pointless, terrible, don't care. Would you agree with that too?
Yeah.
Then we had like a pretty good segment. It was Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush cutting a promo, and you know they addressed the rumors that Finn Balor is going to possibly show up as the Demon, but they're not afraid because Finn Balor's a loser and he's not going to beat Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. And then Finn Balor comes on the screen and says that I'm going to release my demons this Sunday, and then the demon comes on the screen and I guess hisses at the camera. But I like this because we get to see the demon, and I'm glad it's official because it probably should be like a surprise, but like they haven't done the demon in so long that I'm actually cool with them just giving it away. That I hope this means like Finn's just gonna absolutely squash Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, but we have to wait and see. What are your thoughts on this segment?
Demon's coming back, cool, but it was weird.
Yeah, especially Finn like hissing at the camera.
Yeah.
Do you think the demon thinks he's like a cat now or something because he like does a lot of hissing? So
he definitely does.
And then Rey Mysterio and Baron Corbin had like a match I didn't care about at all. Baron Corbin found a way to have a boring match with Rey Mysterio. And I guess I should say Rey Mysterio was hurt in the match, but he still had a boring match with Rey Mysterio. Like, how do you have a boring match with Rey Mysterio? Like, even
you
if
have the boring match.
Like, even if Rey Mysterio was hurt, he finds he could still have I don't know. Baron Corbin wins with the end of days, which they probably did I actually think this was the planned finish because it's not like this match like had like extra time at the end of it, and then Kurt Angle puts Baron Corbin in the ankle lock that closes the show. And I think what pisses me off the most is this was like the last angle we saw of Raw before on the go home show of WrestleMania, which does not do a lot to hype you up for WrestleMania. So, because a lot of people sometimes only watch Raw, and if this was like the last thing you saw before WrestleMania, how could you get hyped to watch WrestleMania? So, that was Raw. I thought. What were your thoughts on the Rey Mysterio Baron Corbin match before?
I didn't give one fuck about it.
Okay. I thought Raw though was a decent show. I liked the woman's main event segment. Not on main event. I mean the WrestleMania main event. So.
The main event of main event of main event.
Yeah. I liked. I liked the Brock and Seth segment. I liked the Kurt Angle farewell like address and stuff. I liked Roman's interview. I liked Stephanie's announcement, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, looking at this show though, I was gonna give it a C+, but going down to like a C now. It was an okay show. I think obviously too my standards are higher because I was expecting like this it's like the go home show before Mania, and you would expect like a better show than this. So that's my thoughts on Raw. What would you let a grade for Raw?
C.
Okay. Now take us through SmackDown for this week, which, as normal, was a better show than Raw. So.
Okay. So the commentary team is the fucking same it's been. Always Frank Grave, Tommy Phil, and Byron Sapp.
Yep.
Same 3 people. Watch the damn show.
Not changing probably till October.
So the Kevin Owens show opens up Raw, SmackDown. What the fuck this is called? It's SmackDown. With Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and they have they're throwing jabs back and forth at each other. And AJ went and dug pretty deep when he said that that Randy Orton was getting suspended all the time in WWE.
Yeah.
Which is kind of true. Which is actually very true.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton criticized AJ for working in high school gymnasiums for some reason.
Well, he was main event in WrestleMania, though, in front of like 10,000s of people.
Because they're obsessed with high school gymnasiums now. Have you realized that?
Yeah, I know. I even like how he talked about, how he did the fans a favor by not having to watch that Rey Mysterio Kurt Angle match from last week, which maybe he's telling the truth. We don't know, though.
He could be, but
yeah,
probably not. Anyway, Aleister Black, Ricochet, and the Usos.
Oh, you forgot something, though. Randy Orton finally strikes a chord with AJ Styles by mentioning, how now that...
Oh, he's a corporate bitch.
Yeah, he's a corporate bitch. And, this leads to the fight. And AJ goes for the phenomenal form, but Orton catches him in the RKO. Which makes me question, if they have a better RKO plan for Sunday, because I think they would have saved this spot. For Sunday, maybe he's going to do, the Springboard 450 and turn it into the RKO instead. Or maybe he's going to do, I was going to say the spiral tap, but it's not really possible to turn the spiral tap into an RKO.
Yeah, because you're not... Your back is facing him.
Yeah. But, yeah, I really like this segment. I'm really interested in this Randy Orton AJ Styles match. It's one of the matches I'm looking forward to the absolute most. One small rant is not really a fan of how Kevin Owens has been used since he's been brought back, because we waited for him to come back for so long, and of course they rushed his return early, and they have nothing planned for him now. He's probably going to be in that frickin' Battle Royal now, so not a fan of how Kevin Owens has been used since he's been brought back. Because you could say, he's been in the WWE title match, but he's done nothing since, the past 2 weeks in his match at WrestleMania. He might not even be at WrestleMania, actually, at this point. So, not a fan of how Kevin Owens has been used so far.
But, anyway, that's Black Ricochet, the Usos with the bar, Rusev Nakamura. There's nothing to write home. It's been that this has just been the feud on SmackDown, basically.
I thought it was a good tag match, though.
It was a good tag match. The Usos won with a double super kick to Rusev.
Yeah, who else? Who else would it be?
Not anyone else.
Yeah.
But Alexa Bliss comes out and says that at WrestleMania, because she's the host, that the Usos would defend the tag titles against all the against those tag teams that were just a part of that 8-man tag.
Yeah,
8-man tag.
Yeah, I liked it. However, I mean, it's obviously a nitpick, but I thought it would have made more sense for Vince to come out and make this announcement, because he would be the one pissed at him, because, it's just it's just a nitpick. Because I think it would have made more sense for Vince to come out and make this announcement. So
yeah.
But I think that match will be awesome. And then afterwards, Ricochet does the lung blower into the Black Mass, which he does leads to him doing the flip live on everybody outside the ring. So, yeah, I guess it makes sense that they wanted to put Aleister Black and Ricochet here. The best thing they could, I think what I would have done instead is done the Raw Tag Team title match with Aleister Black and Ricochet, just, as a standard 2-on-2 tag title match. And instead of, Aleister Black and Ricochet being here, I would have had the Hardys and do a ladder match instead at WrestleMania. Because I think the Hardys being in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was a waste of them. Why even bring them back as a tag team if they're not going to be in the tag team?
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, I think this match still will be like an awesome match at WrestleMania. And I gotta say, Nakamura's in it, and Asuka won the Royal Rumble matches last year, and the matches at WrestleMania is a joke. But Nakamura's in a better spot this year at WrestleMania. He's at least probably gonna make the main code. Like Asuka's not even making the main code. So,
Oh yeah.
If you think about it.
Yes, that's very, very, very true. The Iconics basically come on and say that, just trash all the teams that they're facing and that they're iconic.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Nothing to say.
The Miz comes out and cuts a promo before his handicap match against Sanity. That was made early on in the day by Shane McMahon. Basically, he calls the Miz a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Because, he's a son of a bitch now.
Going to his dad, I think, as a bitch.
And Sanity comes out, and they're just, it's a 3-on-1 handicap match. And then, seconds in, Shane's like, oh, yeah, by the way, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match. And Miz just squashes Sanity 1-on-3.
Yeah.
And basically murders Eric Young with one of the carrying cases and pins Eric Young for the victory.
Not a good utilization of Sanity.
After the week before where they got manhandled single-handedly by the Miz again.
Yeah. I could say the Miz is going into the match at WrestleMania, but I actually thought it would have made more sense for the Miz to lose this match at Mania because it's Shane stacking the odds against the Miz, and it gives us more sympathy.
Conquering babyface conquers all.
Yeah, and then afterwards, too, Shane McMahon gets in his limousine and Miz sees him and he just leaves. I thought that was awesome.
The window's down. He looks like a creepo, just creepily smiling out the window at him.
Yeah.
As he's rolling up the window, he looks like a villain in a bad comedy movie.
I even love the part when he goes to announce it's a Falls Count Anywhere match. Greg Hamilton tries to announce he's best in the world again, and Shane's like, no, we can't overdo a good thing. People already know I'm the best in the world. I
can't overdo it.
I even loved the part where he says that he has I would doubt this if this is true too. How he has it's the picture of him attacking Mrs. George Mizanin as his screensaver photo. I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
No, I wouldn't doubt that.
And he says that he looks at it every day. What is he I bet he looks at it yeah, I did that.
That was me.
Yeah. I wonder if he shows his kids that. Look what Daddy did for you guys.
Look what I did.
I wonder if he shows it. I wonder if he watches it with his wife before they have sex every night. Just hype themselves up.
No, that's their sex. Watching that.
Not even
And Shane's just yeah. That's what I did. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
look at me.
Yeah. And his wife loves it. That was.
Look what Daddy did.
Oh God. I bet he does that too.
The fuck.
This is what the storyline brings out of us. It's such a good storyline, but Shane McMahon as a heel just wins this type of. Don't say you do that. I bet he looks at. Do you think he looks at it in the shower too? As he's taking.
Oh yeah. He's got to finish himself off.
I bet too. He's I gotta go take a work. But he tells everyone that the creative. He's wait, I gotta take a work call. He's not even taking a work call. He's looking at himself. I bet he forgets to take the work call and sees him beating up George Mizanin. He's oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then Vince is I'm finally proud of you, son. And then he's yeah, Dad, this is what I did.
That's what I did, Daddy. I did good. Anyway, after that, basically there's a cop car that pulls up and the sirens are on. Yeah. And I thought for a second Shane McMahon called the cops on the Miz. He was going to get arrested. But no, it was Becky Lynch She comes out and cuts a promo, basically saying that she's going to be double champion, and basically walking out of WrestleMania as both champions.
This was a good segment, but I didn't think it was necessary.
It wasn't, but again, Becky's over as fuck, so it doesn't matter.
And she denied Corey Graves' interview, so poor Corey Graves. He got up for nothing pretty much. So
exactly,
poor guy.
And then they had an 18-person mixed tag fucking ballyhoo of a match.
Yeah, so everyone that was in it. See if you
the the Hardys. That's it. It's just them. They're the 18 people.
What do they clone themselves as the different gimmicks in their lives?
The Hardys, Heavy Machinery, Fabulous Truth, Empress and Glow.
Yeah, you remember who that is, right?
Nikki Cross. I don't know who that is. I don't know Nikki. Who's that? Nikki Cross? Never heard of her.
I don't know. This was the first time I ever seen her. I had a dream she was supposed to have this big push on the main roster, but then she vanished one day. So
she did a vanishing act.
Yeah.
The Good Brothers versus the Good Brothers, Andrade, EC3, Shelton Benjamin, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, Zelina Vega, and Lana.
Did Lana even do anything in this match?
No, she did nothing.
Okay.
Not a single fucking thing happened. It's a big smosh.
Yeah.
It ends relatively quickly. Then
the finish is actually the finish is even stupid too, because the referee just loses control and doesn't even just ends the match randomly too.
Yeah. And it turns into basically the women's and men's battle royal. Battle royals that are happening on Sunday.
Yeah.
Nothing really too significant there.
We're not talking about. They did a funny bit with Mandy Rose and Otis. I almost called him by his.
He's coming.
Yeah, I almost called him by his phone name, but you can't do that anymore. So. He's
coming.
I think that I laughed at that because if you watch their Instagram stories, that's kind of what it's like in real life. But and then it's more pisses me off too because the woman can hit the guys in this match, but if the guy goes to hit the woman in this match, everyone's gonna get all mad. It would be the Royal Rumble 2019 all over. But notice too, by the way, the women's are hitting the guys in this match. There's no backlash about that. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. But anyway, you have Joe minus Ali versus Ali minus Mustafa. It's just it's a nothing match. Joe wins the coquina clutch.
Yeah.
Passes out Ali minus Mustafa.
Because we didn't say this, the Joe Mysterio match is is in the question now because Ray got hurt on Raw. So I don't know who. Maybe Joe faces Owens instead at WrestleMania because he doesn't have a match. That would be,
It could be. We'll see how Ray is. Said he's likely to miss Mania, but you never know.
Yeah. This is why you don't wrestle Baron Corbin on the Go Home edition of Raw. So
he just hurts people.
Yeah. This is why This is why a lot of people think of Baron Corbin how he is right now. He did not. Former football player who didn't translate well in WWE. Just saying, everyone that wants Gronk in WWE, think about what Baron Corbin just did to Rey Mysterio. They just ruined their WrestleMania plans this week. But Gronk probably is more athletic though than Baron Corbin is.
100%.
But I'm just saying, football players typically don't translate well to WWE. So,
the WWE Championship contract signing. Basically, it's just they signed the fucking contract. There's nothing.
I thought it made sense though that they had it this time because Kofi wanted it in writing this time because he screwed up. Even though there's a funny Easter egg in there that I guess they used the old contract for the match they were supposed to have at Fastlane. So maybe that would be an out. Even if Kofi wins on Sunday, Vince will say there's a loophole. The contract said it happened on March 10th, So you got to give the championship back. The match was never official. I could see that if that's where they're going, I could see, that would be clever.
I would hate that.
I have a feeling it was just like a big botch, and they just used the same old contract and stuff. But yeah, take us through this segment.
Yeah,
I said take us through this segment.
They signed a contract. What like?
Yeah.
Nothing...
I thought the new Daniel Bryan was great. I said the new one, not the nude one. So, where we talked about, because it's really cool, like, to hear the new Daniel Bryan, like, he was in the same position that Kofi was in, at WrestleMania 30, and it's kind of weird to see, like, he's in the heel position now, like, constantly, like, trying to hold down Kofi Kingston. And I even like Kofi Kingston's, like, response to it, and the new Daniel Bryan was great. Everyone was calling him an asshole, and the new Daniel Bryan responds to it by saying, a lot of smart, intelligent people have been called that and have been proven right. I thought that was awesome. And I mean, Kofi Kingston was right. Even though we could say the new Daniel Bryan hasn't been used great, he won his first world title within 2 years of being in the company, while Kofi Kingston hasn't even had a one-on-one match for the WWE title yet. And he says that he's not going to let anybody down. He's going to finally vindicate all of his, losses and stuff, and all of the struggles in WWE. It was awesome, and I actually liked how in this segment, like, you didn't really have, like, someone stand tall or anything like that, because now it leaves us guessing, like, who's going to win at WrestleMania, because, a lot of people go by, like, if you stand tall on the go-home show, you're going to automatically either win or lose Sunday. This kind of left that in question, because technically both of them stood tall here, so, no one, well, except Daniel Bryan, he was sitting down. So
yeah,
maybe that means he's losing. Maybe that means Kofi's losing Sunday because he stood up. Maybe Kofi just had to sit down, and it would have been left more in question. So, should have just sat down, Kofi. But yeah, that was SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was a good show. I'm gonna give it a B-. It was a hell of a lot better than Raw. I thought it hyped me a little bit more to want to watch WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. B-.
Now on to 205 Live. For the same date, we had Aiden English, Vic Joseph, and Nigel McGuinness on commentary. They did like the little video promo with Aiden English. Not Aiden English, Drake Maverick. They don't even look alike. And, he runs down the show. Now I can do my rant. And, I'm not going to take my glasses off because that's Noah's thing. So, Cruiserweights on the kickoff, which I kind of expected it in a way because I just know how the WWE. I just had a feeling that was going to happen. So, I had like a little bit of hope this time just because though it was in Tony Nese's hometown. So I actually thought they were going to put him on the main card because everybody would know who he was, but that ain't the case at all. It just sucks because like. A lot of people, don't see 205 Live as important. Well, maybe if they would stop putting it on the kickoff, people would see it as important because the WWE told you that they don't care about the kickoff. So, obviously, if the WWE tells you fans aren't going to care, the kickoff's not important, fans aren't going to care what they put on the kickoff, and the fans keep seeing, the cruiserweights on the kickoff. They're not going to think they're important, but they are important. They have killer matches every week. The shows are awesome. What pisses me off more, though, is it's not like this cruiserweight match is like a random match thrown together. If you go watch this show, there's actually like a feud with this show. This is like a blood feud between Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. Like they have like a over a year-long history with each other. And I'm gonna actually be pissed if the Raw Tag Team title match is on the main card and this match is on the kickoff because the cruiserweights deserve the cruiserweights deserve the kickoff over the Raw and the women's tag team titles. I know people are going to say it buries the women's tag team titles if you already put them on the kickoff. They've been buried since they started. The women's tag team titles basically have already been buried. So what more damage are you doing to them if you just put them on the kickoff? The cruiserweights deserve to be on the main card. Literally that tournament now means nothing because they basically busted their asses just to be put on the kickoff. And this is a blood feud. It's absolutely stupid. if this match gets left off the DVD and they don't get like any of like the paid expenses from that now and stuff, it's just absolute bullshit. Because why can the cruiserweights make the main card at Survivor Series, but yet they can't make the main card at TLC, Royal Rumble, and Elimination Chamber? Like what? Like Survivor Series is supposed to be like one of the big shows of the year. The cruiserweights can make the main card there, but they can't make the main card at WrestleMania. It's absolutely stupid. It buries the division, and they should be on the main card. Like I talked about before, Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. It's not like a random match. It's a blood feud. They have a history with each other. People care about that match. It's not like fans don't care about 205 Live. 205 Live's been pretty packed the past few times they've been doing it. There was like, you saw last week, it was pretty packed last week. Like,
but not this week.
I thought it was just, the fact that they're going on the kickoff is stupid, and, it should be taking the spot, especially, too, because you're going to have an Elias segment that could easily have the cruiserweights be on there. So it's like, why can't the cruiserweights be on the main card? 205 Live matters. So that's just stupid. I'm not taking the show down a letter grade though, because the cruiserweights and the guys on this show don't deserve that. Because I can't even make the main card in the Andre Battle Royal either. The Lucha House Party's in it, and it's on the kickoff. I wonder if like the main roster looked at that like, no, cruiserweights are there. Gotta put that match on the kickoff. Like, what, can like no cruiserweight ever be on the main card? Like, yes, not. What are your thoughts? This match is on the kickoff.
It doesn't bother me at all, actually.
Yeah, I didn't think it would. But it bothers me. So
the card's fucking loaded. There's really no room for it.
But I'm just saying though, if they put Revival versus Hawkins and Ryder on the main card, but not this match, then we're gonna have serious problem. But yeah, let's get to 205 Live. It was Kalisto versus Orny Lorcan, which was an awesome match. Obviously, they like Orny Lorcan looked awesome in this match. I like him as like this new aggressive heel. It's gonna be weird though because he's gonna be a face in NXT this week. Because that match with Jackson Riker that's happening tonight, right? Huh?
What?
I said that match with Jackson Riker that's advertised. That's happening tonight, correct?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be weird. He was a heel here, but a face. He's gonna be a face in NXT. So
yeah, it's weird.
Maybe unless they're gonna change it one way, like maybe Orny Lorcan and Danny Burch will go heel on NXT to kind of balance it out. But we'll see what happens. But I thought this match was just absolutely awesome. Orny Lorcan immediately attacks Kalisto, hits like an awesome uppercut on him, and Kalisto gets the advantage by trying to roll him up a ton of times, but doesn't get the pinfall. Orny Lorcan hits an awesome uppercut, hits an awesome hip attack in the corner. He goes for his half and half like suplex, but doesn't quite get it. Kalisto hits the Salida del Sol on the apron, and he covers Orny Lorcan, but he just barely kicks out. This didn't bother me though, because it took Kalisto a few minutes to get the pinfall, so it's not like he kicked out of his finisher right away. Then eventually Orny Lorcan hits the half and half suplex in the corner for the win, and obviously it makes sense because this was like Orny Lorcan's like first official match since like being signed to 205 Live, and he should obviously be winning because it doesn't hurt Kalisto that much by losing because he's on the main roster and then like that. He needed to establish Orny Lorcan, so I was quite cool with this. So, being on the outside looking in, how does this match sound to you? And your thoughts on Orny Lorcan being signed at 205 Live? Because I don't know if you've been able to give your thoughts on that yet.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, and I like the match. It was a good match.
Yeah,
I watched it, so
I didn't know. But yeah, I loved it. Thought it was a great match. And then Drake Maverick's backstage, and Cedric Alexander comes up, and he's upset that he didn't get a match with Orny Lorcan. But Drake Maverick says that, because Cedric Alexander lost like his last couple of matches in a row, It's he felt like that Cedric Alexander needed time to recuperate. So that's why he didn't give him the match. And obviously Cedric wasn't happy about it, but he kind of was like, whatever, you're the boss. So I think too they didn't want to do the match. I mean, obviously the real reason is they didn't want to do the match here because I feel like that match would have gotten like lost in the shuffle on this show. So
Oh yeah.
and it's too early to do that match too. So I was cool with it, but I like it because Drake Maverick's actually like a really good GM. He's an awesome GM. He like plays he doesn't play. I almost said he plays favorites. No, he doesn't play favorites. So I liked it. Your thoughts on this backstage segment?
It was good. I mean, it served a purpose. Like, it's basically a way to, basically tell you that match was coming.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen next week. It's probably like I think it's gonna probably happen like a couple weeks from now. Cedric will ask for it again next week, and he'll get it probably. Because they didn't announce anything this time for 205 Live because they typically don't like if the cruiserweights are on the pay per view. So, then we had Tony Nese's interview, and I forgot to mention that during the Kalisto Oni Lorcan match, it showed like Buddy Murphy walking around backstage like he was wanted to fight somebody. So I actually like that they showed that because it's not like when they were showing that like they were doing a bunch of high spots. They weren't like in the middle of a rest spot when they were doing that. So
yeah,
Tony Nese talks about how he doesn't feel that pressure going into WrestleMania because people aren't expecting him to win. But if Buddy Murphy doesn't win, then that's going to stick with him forever because the greatest cruiserweight in the world couldn't beat his former lackey, as he likes to, but he says it like in air quotes. And Buddy Murphy attacks it from behind. It leads to like a big brawl. And they fight outside and they have to get like pulled apart. But eventually Tony Nese throws him like head first into the screen and hits the running Nese on him. And I liked this a lot. I thought this made Tony Nese look like a strong challenger for the championship. And it was an awesome segment. I really enjoyed this. Makes me build intrigue for the match again too. So, what were your thoughts on this?
I like the brawl. It was a really good pull-up brawl. And it makes Tony Nese look strong going to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Then we had the main event. It was Mike Kanellis with Maria Kanellis versus Akira Tozawa with the Brian Kendrick. The basic storyline of this match is that Maria Kanellis kept trying to get involved, and Maria Kanellis apparently forgot to wear a shirt last night because she was like basically not in just a bra pretty much. So there's that. And Mike Kanellis too, like you showed me a picture today. He looks like Aiden English now, pretty much. Like
like almost spot on.
Yeah, the only difference is that he just needs to get his skin whiter, and then we'll talk. But Akira Tozawa mounts a comeback, and what I like on 205 Live is when someone does a comeback, they don't do like the typical traditional moves all the time. They have different ways they do their comebacks. But then eventually Mike Kanellis gets the advantage again when he hits the neck breaker off the barricade, and this allows him to take a cheap shot at the Brian Kendrick. So when Mike Kanellis is about to roll up and cheat by having Maria Kanellis hold his hand so that way he can get more leverage on the pin, the Brian Kendrick warns Maria Kanellis about it, which the camera completely kind of missed actually, because that was a pretty important thing they had to show, but they didn't show it. So the referee catches him, and then Tozawa gets a roll up on him and wins the match. So Tozawa wins, which I thought made sense that it was Kendrick. And I guess Kendrick did serve a purpose out there because last week I talked about how there was really nothing Kendrick could do to counteract Maria's interference. Well, they found a way to work around that. So there's that. And I'm guessing they're going to do like one more match, maybe like a 2 out of 3 falls match with like everybody banned from ringside. Where, Mike Kanellis will either win or lose. I don't know. Maybe he'll win. Maybe he'll lose. We'll see. Your thoughts, though, on the main event?
It was a good main event. I liked it. I liked the ending with Brian Kendrick and everything. Like,
yes,
it made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially too because I like how Mike Kanellis is like starting to like lose it every week. Like, he's more aggressive now when he wrestles now and stuff. And I think the fact that like he shaved his head just kind of shows like he's starting to become like a psycho now in a way too.
Unhinged.
Yeah, I kind of hope it leads to him like getting rid of this like crappy theme song, because now this theme song doesn't fit his gimmick at all because he's not really this gimmick anymore. So, because obviously when he had that theme song, that was when they were like that lovers gimmick that really you could see that didn't translate because it led to them being off TV for like a year. I know you could say like Maria Kanellis was also got pregnant at the time, but you know, basically basically though that gimmick was just a flop anyways. Right when he came out with it, so yeah. 205 Live was awesome. Afterwards, they showed like a video recap of like the whole feud between Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese, which was awesome. It makes complete sense to me. They have like a lot of history with each other, and Tony Nese has been. I didn't realize this is like his first opportunity at the cruiserweight title, like in a one-on-one match, because technically when he had the Cruiserweight Classic, it really wasn't for. It was for the title, but we didn't really know it was like when he got eliminated from it and stuff. So, I thought it was awesome, and yeah, it makes me question if he's going to get the belt Sunday. He might just because 205 Live doesn't have any other like faces that Buddy Murphy can wrestle because he's beating all the top faces on the brand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unless Pete Dunne, when he gets called up, goes to 205 Live because that would make sense. And he feuds with Pete Dunne, but obviously that's TBD. But that's our show. And look, we did it like in less than an hour and a half today, so that's exciting. One thing I wanted to mention though is on SmackDown this week. I completely forgot that Sanity's entrance, like the camera, like moves around and stuff because I hadn't seen it in so long. So I just thought it was WWE's crappy camera production because you know how like the camera, well, kind of is crappy sometimes. The WWE where they move the camera around and stuff. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the end of the show. Is there anything you want to plug or promote?
Watch the Wrestling Rundown tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, we're taping it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it might be airing tomorrow.
I think so, yeah.
Might. Depends.
Yeah. We'll be doing our predictions for TakeOver, WrestleMania, and talking about NXT and NXT UK. So, yes. Noah's going to be late because he's got other commitments to do it.
Yeah.
So, what sucks because I'm going to miss the trivia match when it goes on live. But then, other things to check out tonight. Me and the Four Horsemen, as we like to call ourselves, apparently, of the NXT of the No DQ NXT team, are going to be doing our predictions for NXT Takeover New York and WrestleMania. I don't know if they're going to be the same or separate videos. I'll ask them, tonight. It's going to be taping. It's going to be taped at 10 o'clock p.m. It'll probably go up tomorrow. And then that's basically it. Possibly live reactions for WrestleMania Sunday, but
chances are getting better.
Actually, I'd say 50. It's more 50-50 now.
Yeah, so, it was 0% like a day ago.
Yeah. So we have to wait and see. So yeah. That's pretty much it. I really have nothing left to say. Thank you guys for watching. Also, check out CM Brothers and Owen the Talkinator. CM Brothers, me and my cousin posted predictions for NXT TakeOver New York and WrestleMania. And he did his punishment video for for Fastlane, where he had to drink hot sauce. And he threw up in that video. So, you want to see somebody throw up, go watch that video. Or you can just watch, if you want to be mesmerized, you can watch Shane McMahon look at a screensaver for 3 hours. Because, apparently he does that. So, I wonder if he's looking at it right now. You think he's looking at it right now?
He could.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's it.
we'll
So
see you guys soon.
see you tomorrow.